Hi, I'm MJF, and you're a disgusting poor. Now, as you know, I have an insane amount of action figures available, literally everywhere. And I thought to myself, my devil worshippers should have to work harder to get their hands on little mini-me's. And so, I called Jazwares up, and I said, Jazwares, can you make a special action figure that can only be available at local Walmarts? And they said, sure we can, MJF. Coming to you very soon in the spring of 2023.
Okay, people, welcome back to another Fwoosh Weekly. As always, I'm Robo, and, there it is. There's the big old list of toys I like talking about. It's getting warm outside, hot even already. Summer's upon us. The convention centers are ramping up for crowds and booths and celebrities and movies and TV shows and cosplayers and toys. It's feeling a lot like it did a couple of years ago, before it was strictly live streams for this kind of thing. Don't get me wrong, there are still live streams, there are still announcements throughout the month, but I don't know, I'm looking forward to San Diego and New York Comic Con and Toy Fair, but it also feels like there's still a lot of toys being announced at the moment. There's going to be more during those shows. I keep talking about this bubble bursting eventually, and it hasn't happened yet. It's just gotten bigger and bigger and bigger, and there's more stuff to pick, and that's the thing. And how much do you want for that? The whole wallet? Okay. But that's not happening on this day, my friends. No, not today. Today we talk about all kinds of figure goodness. Let's kick things off with something we knew about. Something we've seen a few times before, but now pre-orders are open for the Jada Toys Cheetos Chester Cheetah. Ooh, it is not easy being cheesy, but they make it look easy. Not a lot to say that I haven't already said. It looks awesome. And something I didn't know I needed until I actually saw it. I mean, we can wish list all day long, and we usually do, about things like this, and cereal mascots, and McDonald's Land, and so many other things that we haven't seen in action figure form yet. But to see it in all of its super articulated goodness, that's a beautiful thing. And speaking of cereal mascots, that's also Jada Toys. So this will fit in very, very nicely next to my Frankenberry, my Count Chocula, and hopefully soon, that Boo Berry. It sounds like future offerings like this are kind of iffy. You gotta think it's a licensing nightmare. Plus, Jada Toys is focusing on Street Fighter and Mega Man. So I will take what I can get when I can get it. And I want this now. I gotta wait for September to plunk my $25 down. Okay, you know that I do not follow wrestling figures. AEW and WWE both like to make it really difficult to follow. Hey, here's a live show happening. We're gonna put a display case at the back of the thing, and here's this, and Instagram, and around here, or we're gonna throw it on WWE.com and jumble them all up to where it's kind of a huge mess, and you look at it and go, I just want to buy some figures. So I don't even try. To get my wrestling news, I go over to My Damn Toys or Kyle Peterson. They've got it going on. I am a wrestling fan who doesn't collect the figures, except the toy collectors in the business. So you know I've got to mention a couple of new Jazwares AEW Danhausens.
Oh, it's Danhausen again, and it seems we're not going to show off that, what is it? One of the Series 13s. I don't know which one. Okay, see everyone later.
See, he can't even keep up the releases. He just wants to buy toys. This week, Amazon posted up their Danhausen and Hook 2-pack. Here, Danhausen has slightly tweaked ring gear, no shirt, plastic cape. Oh, and don't forget about the Hook accessory. Jazwares didn't stop there, though. You know they love their chases and their variants, so there's also the very nice, very evil Ringside Collectibles exclusive Danhausen. Here, there's a different version of the pants, soft goods cape, and a new head sculpt. At least I think it's a different head sculpt. The Unrivaled release has standard and snarling. The Amazon 2-pack seems to be two standards with different hair sculpts, and then the Ringside is open mouth. So you have options. If you're interested in any of these, the links are down below. I think the Mattel Creations Masters of the Universe Masterverse Vicron was announced a couple of weeks ago, but for some reason I have fallen way behind on all things He-Man. I think it was when they dropped a whole heaping helping of announcements during the vacation I took, and I just never caught back up. I only know Vicron from the Classics release, so that's the mental image I have. Seeing the new pictures of the Masterverse figure, they kind of veer out of that lane a bit. I'm not saying that's a bad thing, not at all. I just miss some of those elements, especially since they were more accurate to the original concepts. Number one being the green armored up character. I love the classics looking like a big old tank-headed bastard with nipple eyes, but I am warming up to the snapping turtle motif of the Masterverse. Flip side, I like this Space Cadet more than the previous iteration. Going all the way back, you cannot deny the Boba Fett inspiration. Classics kept a lot of those same shapes, but classic-fied them. Masterverse keeps that same spirit, but makes it the most Eternian so far. It feels like it fits this universe the best. If you didn't know, these were based on the original pitch, where He-Man encompassed the past, the present, and the future, and we all know where it went after that, kind of sword and sorcery and crazy technology. Those two now fall within that realm, while the third, it didn't need a lot of tweaking at all. Out of the three, the Barbarian stays the most consistent. Makes sense, it's the prototype for the whole line. Again, Masters of the Universe stayed within that past realm. This falls exactly into that. I'm so glad to see the helmet updated though, because if I had any gripe about this version of Vicron, it was the bell on top of his head. Or a chalice. Like he was in a bar drinking way past his limit and somebody bet him that he couldn't go right now and fight the forces of evil. He's just like, yeah, I'm in. Okay, bad guys, here I am. Beware. It's the Hyborian age equivalent of a lampshade. The update just feels better overall. It feels more barbarian, more armor, more serious. You know, as serious as He-Man and the Masters of the Universe gets. But notice I did say Mattel Creations. I have never dealt with buying anything from there, so I have no personal experience. All I have is second-hand comments of, boy, that was a nightmare, it went super fast, or, hey, that's kind of surprising, it's still up. So, I don't know. If you really, really want this, I would be there next Tuesday, noon Eastern. Because really, $35 is not bad for a figure and this many accessories, this many options. $35 feels like, well, I better go ahead and buy three so I can display all three and then have, holy moly, a whole bag full of extras left over. McFarlane Toys they haven't been quiet, they've just been uncharacteristically quiet lately. Just showing some mood-lit reveals and some teases, most of which get solicitations this week. So it's not a lot of surprises, and it's definitely not the floodgates we've all been expecting, but hey, if you like Batman, Todd has you covered. And I usually silverline this. It's Batman, it sells. Why wouldn't they make more Batmans? That means more money to put into new molds for new characters that can be reused as Batmans, and the cycle continues. That means it's a healthy line, but god dang, this is a lot of Batmans. At the same time, nobody is forcing you to buy these. They exist. Somebody will buy them, or they'll go on clearance, one way or the other. If they don't sell, that means it's time to change the strategy. Okay, maybe we shouldn't be making so many Batmans, but apparently it's working so far. And I get the thought process of, well, there's so many Batmans, that means I'm not getting this character, or this character, or this character. You know, the mentality of a collector. It's just all over the place. But if you're into all these Batmans, here you go. Here is a Dark Knight Returns Jokerized Batman. We knew this was happening. He announced that, hey, we're going to do this crazy thing where we take a bunch of Batmans that we've made and Jokerize them. It's an easy way to reuse molds while giving them interesting redesigns. Although I did see a comment saying Jokerized is to McFarlane, as Carbonized is to Star Wars Black Series, and I can't really... Well, okay. I think it's more accurate to say Jokerized is to McFarlane as holiday figures are to Star Wars Black Series, because at least those have some paint. There's some interesting things going on with them. Carbonized is just, we're going to do this figure in some metallic colors. This has a little imagination to it, a little artistic license. For the Sinestro Core Batman, I think I said this back when it was first revealed, I really like this. The colors pop, it's a good shape, the head may be slightly small, but it's still a good looking Batman. Two Faces Batman, what else can I say? The appropriate changes to make the Batman figure into Two Faces Batman but it's still Two-Face's Batman. I think the pre-order everyone was waiting for was the Nightfall Batman. Still not perfect, according to some. The gray could be a little darker, the head size could be tweaked, but it's a nice looking basic Batman. Keyword basic, not bad basic, but a Batman that you can put in several displays. An iconic version, a classic look. I'm not saying the Metals and the Blackest Nights don't have its place or its fans. Just that a lot of us old farts are looking for a little nostalgia tug, and this is exactly what the doctor ordered. I can't imagine why this sold out at a lot of the online retailers. It's a damn mystery. But hey, it's not all Batman this week. There's also Batwing, who is Batman adjacent, I guess. A lot of you know I haven't read a lot of modern comics, so I don't know the context here, the story. But I have noticed that some of the characters are taking on the names of Batman's gadgets. And it's kind of cool. Batwing is armored, he has thrusters, I'm guessing he flies. The Batwings are kind of on the nose though. And then I think there's Signal, who has light and dark powers, like the Bat Signal. I'm waiting on Batmobile. He's wearing rocket skates or something, he rolls around town. Or he could be wearing that Kingdom Come armor that has very 66 elements to it with the red pinstriping. Or that armor that McFarlane already gave us. And the dude in the suit's name is Bill. Mobile. Mr. Mobile. Codename Batmobile. Mr. Bill. That can't be a thing already, right? Am I just regurgitating some modern story that I don't know about? Or is this what I've sunk into? Ah, well. Various bat places, various bat prices. Links are in the description. Like wrestling and Masters of the Universe, I haven't been keeping up with a lot of the Spawn releases, but this did catch my eye. Here is the McFarlane Toys Spawn's Universe Big Bad Toy Store exclusive gold label Shadow of Spawn limited black and white accent edition. Now I think they're just screwing with me. How many words do you need in the title of a pre-order page? Yeah, it's the same Spawn body we've seen several times over, just cast all in black with some ghostly green on top, but I'll be damned if it's not striking. Why do I like this so much? Why? Maybe it's the green? Well, it's gotta be the green, right? I know I like the figure. The only difference is, besides the black plastic, is the green. It just sings to me. Like I said in the big mess of words a minute ago, Big Bad Toy Store exclusive, $35, releases in July. Speaking of green, you like how I did that? King of segues. Quite a bit of NECA Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles news this week. First, Anthony over at Anthony's Customs posted up videos for the Mirage Comics Ultimate Foot Ninja and the new versions of the Turtles. Those all look pretty sweet. Go check those out. Those haven't even been solicited yet, but directly after those videos, the Mirage Comics Foot Enforcer went up for pre-order. This was actually featured in one of NECA's 12 days of downloads last December, down in the bottom corner of one of the big old turtle pictures. But seeing it all in action here makes it so much nicer. I think this uses parts from the big beefy Shredder clone with the 4 arms. Maybe the upper arms, definitely the legs. The wraps seem to match up. Speaking of those, later in the week, Best Buy, of all people, posted a page for the Mirage Comics Shredder Clones 3-pack with alternate colors. That was alongside the Mirage Comics Michelangelo the Wanderer. I guess this is a riff on Last Ronin, or did this come out before that? Featured, from what I understand, it was a panel or two, or one book, something. I don't know. I just like the look of one turtle carrying the weapons of all the turtles. It's a nice visual. And I know it's not all the weapons, there's this instead of this, but you get the idea. Right? Sit down. Shh. But speaking of Last Ronin, Best Buy also posted up the Ultimate Senja Patrol Bot. Again, we saw this in the checklist from the holiday season, and then, was it in the case at San Diego last year? Either way, getting a closer look now, it looks kind of familiar, doesn't it? No way some customizers pass up the chance to make a Mirage Comics Snake Eyes to put in their Turtles display, because that's the thought that's creeping into my brain. I haven't been collecting this series, but it's just too good. I just need some black paint and some highlights. $35 for this and Michelangelo, $40 for the Foot Enforcer, $60 for the Shredder Clone 3-pack. Releasing in the future. That segues nicely into the Mezco 112th Collective G.I. Joe Firefly, although it messes up my order because there's other G.I. Joe news, but that's Hasbro. That'll come after with the Hasbro stuff. But here we are. We're just gonna have to deal with life and the lemons it throws us. I'm not griping though, this is a nice looking Firefly. At this point, we all know how difficult it can be to get regular clothes and fatigues to look right at this scale, with this many layers, but by Joe, they've done it. I did stay up all night thinking of that one. By Joe. Thank you. Thank you. No, please, thank you. Oh, I know there's a few flat spots here and there, seam lines to break the illusion, but for the most part, it looks like a guy dressed for success. If by success you mean blowing things up. But it's not just the threads here. It's also the accessories that push it on over the edge. You have your fantasy terrorist organization basics, your guns, your ammos, your blast effects, along with all the means to carry them around. But then there's also the Firefly-specific specialty gear. We saw the drone aspect with the classified version, but the smoke trails and their mountability into the backpack? You get one of these. There's also a tablet to control either them or the rover ground drone. And if that doesn't do it for you, Firefly isn't afraid to go old school with more traditional explosives and weapons. Cherry on top, 3 heads that are very expressive despite being 85% covered. Even if you do not care for Mezco or soft goods or whatever, you gotta admit, this is the total Firefly package. $112, shooting for an early 2024 release. Here's an oddball solicitation. The Bandai SH Figuarts Quantum Mania Ant-Man was revealed back in February, about the time the movie hit theaters. At the time, there were a few pictures like this, and this, and this. And that was about it. This week, pre-orders went live, which usually means more pretty promotional pictures, more pizzazz. But alongside the images we had already seen, there was this one, and this one, showing you what Scott's working with, and this one. We speculated about the existence of an exposed Paul Rudd head because there was fleshy neck showing from under the helmet. That is true, but looking at this, you need to get to an optometrist, sir. There's some alternate hands, one including a PIM particles tube, and then the big jug to wheeze the juice. I know the movie didn't go over as well as expected, but damn, Tamashii Nations, don't sugarcoat anything, alright? It's almost like, well, dang, we showed it, we made kind of a hullabaloo over it, I guess we gotta solicit it. Here you guys go. Whatever. Well, okay, they've never been shy about letting prototypes just languish in the void of uncertainty before, but that's always been at conventions. No pictures, we don't want to get anybody's hopes. Oh, it's out there? Too bad, because we weren't releasing that. This had a full photo spread. It was announced, although didn't they show 2 visions during a live stream and we haven't seen anything since? Just kind of disappeared, just like Vision has in the MCU. You know, so, but that's enough of that. This here is going to be $65, depending on the exchange rate any given day. Should release in October. This week's Hasbro Marvel Legends aren't quite as exciting as the past few weeks. There's an old figure with some slight upgrades, and then an update to an existing pre-order. But if you're into cinematic Hulks and Spider-Mans, you may be interested. The Amazon exclusive Thor Ragnarok Gladiator Hulk is 100% the Build-A-Figure from 2017, except for the new Screaming Rage head and an improved paint deco. The faces look so much better with photoreal, and then the war paint has been updated to be more accurate to what we saw in the movie. It also seems the purple accents and the metallic blue shoulder pad are lighter and brighter, so they pop out at you. That's it. Great if you missed it. Good if you were waiting for an upgrade. Not bad if you just want to pass on by, if you're not interested at all. And $40 isn't too bad, all things considered, you know, like current action figure prices domestically. But then there is the Pulse exclusive Spider-Man No Way Home 3-pack. This was solicited last July using only renders. Now there's actual product to gander, and really, not much has changed other than how the figures react to the real world, like lighting and shadow and such. They made a big deal about Tom's webs being painted, and they still are, just a little lighter than what we saw in the render, but he also still has the gauntlets on the arms. That means he doesn't quite match up with the other Parkers. And there ain't nothing worse than a bunch of mismatched Peters. Right? Toby's silver webs pick up all the lighting and all the glare, so from some angles it looks very starty and stoppy. like it's missing in some places, but then different pictures show that that's not true, that it is silver, it's just reflecting the light different. The figure seems a little large though compared to the other two. I think Andrew is my favorite. It's the darker colors, it's the overall shape, it just works for me. Maybe because it's the most comic book looking out of the group. And speaking of that, why haven't we got a figure from any company of the end Spider-Man? You know what I'm talking about. Spoilers just in case you haven't seen a year-and-a-half old movie. Anyway, accessories are webs and hands. No unmasked heads like a lot of people were hoping for after this long a wait. Are there likeness rights and legalities at play here? We saw the trouble with the SH Figuarts Spider-Man, where they showed an Andrew Garfield head and then took it away. Like, oops, we weren't supposed to do that. Is that the same case here? Even though they didn't have much trouble with Tobey Maguire or Tom Holland. But this being a 3-pack, would it be weird to give 2 of them unmasked heads and not the third? Is it kind of a all or nothing thing? Or is this just Big Toy Corporation doing Big Toy Corporation things? Selling this now, you buy it, and then they offer singles down the road, like the leaks and rumors suggest. There, if it is singles, then they can do a couple of unmasked heads, and if they're not allowed to do the third, it's not a travesty because they're not all packed in together. It's just how the world works or something. I don't know. I think having those likenesses would be awesome, but at this point, with my MCU shelves shrinking and my comic book displays taking over, I'm just good with having the 3 Spider-Mans represented on my shelf, as is. I don't need all the bells and whistles. But this is also $90. This came last year when all the prices were... And I'm not saying they're still not... But $30 per Spider-Man feels a little high. Can you tell I'm flip-flopping on this one? I want the Spider-Mans, but ooh, that's a kick in the wallet. The other big update on this set is that the release date was pushed up to next week, so if you're flip-flopping too, don't have much time to decide. Now, where are the villains? But what gave me the toy sweats this week, those plastic shivers inject the figures directly into my veins, is the new Hasbro G.I.Joe Classified Series pre-orders. Not really anything we hadn't seen or expected at this point, but it's another step towards acquiring. Seeing pretty promotional pictures just gets me all flustered. Well, I say that. Tiger Force Dusty isn't super high on my list, but I'm a sucker for the Battle Cat camo. I'm gonna leave this one to fate. I'm not gonna pre-order it, but if I see it on the shelf, I'll be mighty tempted to bring it home. Same goes for the Python Patrol Crimson Guard, although, now that I think about it, can it technically still be called a Crimson Guard when all the crimson has been replaced with grays and yellows? I guess there's some reds peeking through here and there, and I know Crimson Guard is just a title, it's just a rank, it's a group, so it's gaudy as all hell, but okay. If I see you on a peg, you are mine. But if I don't, not bad. That's money towards other figures, like some more Arctic bats. We saw a little leak for this a while back, but now, in high def, all laid before us, the white color could have come off as ho-hum. Yay, a snow deco. Exciting. But the new head and that chainsaw attachment, I don't know why that has me so excited. This is just a pure Arctic killing machine. Yeah, Lenny tried to play it off as a tool to cut ice or trees in the tundra, but for me, this is still nightmare fuel. What, you didn't think I was gonna do it? Come on now. But to cap that snow-covered mountain, we finally got pre-orders for the Trouble Bubble that was name-dropped last San Diego Comic-Con last summer. Doesn't matter, it's solicited now. Looks great. The Televiper has 3 head options for army building, along with other neat accessories like the Trouble Bubble. That's the main draw here, right? The Trouble Bubble. Don't get me wrong, I really like the figure. I really like the options. But this is almost the perfect vehicle for shelf display. It's not really taking up much more room than a standard figure, especially if you have them posed in action stances. This is going to take up that, not much taller than the figure, going to be sitting down. Hell, It's displaying the figure. And looking at it closer, I've never noticed that the clear dome is meant to look like a Cobra Trooper's helmet. Kinda. Or is that just me? Or am I just spouting off something that everybody's known for 40 years? Like that's new for me. What can I say? Again, I wasn't a big G.I. Joe kid. I watched the cartoon, didn't have a lot of toys. This is my entry into that universe. As these figures come out, I'm like, oh, I kind of remember that, but look at that, and that, and that, and that. I love it. This is Hasbro Pulse exclusive, gonna run you about $55, releases in October. Tiger Force Dusty and Python Patrol Crimson Guard are Target exclusives, $25 a pop, should drop in August. And then the Arctic Bat can terrorize your shelves in September for about $25, exclusive to Amazon and fan channels. Links are in the description. And that's it for this week, but we're already looking at more craziness next week. Monday, we'll see the next Hasbro G.I. Joe Classified Series HasLab kickoff during a fan stream at 11 a.m. Eastern. We talked about it, but Tuesday is the Mattel Creations Masters of the Universe Masterverse Vicron, so don't miss that. Then we'll see the Marvel Legends Avengers Beyond Earth's Mightiest Black Widow on Thursday. That's the new female body sporting the super duper articulation, but it is Target exclusive, which at this point, I don't know which is where. Walmart, Target. You hear single store exclusive, and it's just become kind of, well, okay, there's my crotch, kick away. But I'm sure there's going to be all kinds of things in between. So next week, I'll be right here, hopefully. You'll be right there, hopefully, and we'll just have ourselves a good old time. What I'm trying to say is, I'll catch you on the Fwoosh. I'm gonna make it. Nope. I still hit that toy. Where'd that come from?